Passed my driving test on the second attempt. I was a very nervous driver, but for those that know me, I wasn't the best driver. I actually failed my first driving test for going too slowly. Don't laugh, that's exactly how nervous I was. And you know, I was one of the first people in my little group of friends to get a car, pass my test. So naturally, you know, they want to go places. Like, let's go down to Bournemouth, let's go to Bristol, let's go here, let's go there. And I'd always try and make up an excuse, because in my head I'd be thinking, oh, this is going to be a nightmare, we'll get lost, parking will be a nightmare. I just didn't like the thought of the responsibility of driving a load of people through a busy city centre, which sounds ridiculous now, but I think in my head I was just overcomplicating it. And there's a lot of things that I still do that for, but the way that I try and overcome that is by thinking about a much more difficult problem, but kind of within that same realm, where people have managed to solve it. I mean, take driving, for example. I mean, you know, driving through London can still stress people out. It still stresses me out to a certain extent. But if you think about some of the biggest transport problems the human race has managed to solve, I mean, you know, going back in history, people navigating their way across oceans that have never been sailed before and coming out the other side. Think about the first trips to the moon. You know, the human race has actually managed to put people onto the moon. We've managed to put rovers on Mars. We've actually managed to send things out into space, calculating where planets are going to be, taking into account their gravitational pull, how much fuel is going to be needed, and actually landing something on the surface of another planet. Now, if you think the human race can do that, is driving up to London for the day really such a big deal? You know, there's not that much that can really go wrong. I think that's something I try and apply to problems now. It's like, think of something even more difficult than what you're trying to do that's been accomplished, and you know, it just kind of breaks your problem down into something a bit more manageable.
If you found this useful or helpful, then like and subscribe to the channel. You can also find us at Twitter, Facebook and Instagram.